Well, good morning and welcome to a massive episode of Harcourts Hotseat. Today I'm privileged to have media mogul, AFL journalist, Craig Hutchinson. Craig, how are you going?
Hello Tim, good on you. I thought this was a great way to show some support for you. I always like people that market themselves differently, and you're doing great things in the Ballarat community, which is a big part of our world, so nice to be here.
Well, we're a bit different today. I'm actually driving. You're used to going around in helicopters probably, so
No.
We thought it was safer if I drove maybe.
Yeah, I know that your standard Harcourts hot seat there in Ballarat is to have the guest drive, but I said to you that I don't really drive. I haven't driven a car ostensibly for 3 or 4 years. I've got a licence to drive, of course, but I'm generally an Uber guy, which is I found it been a fantastic way to get around these days, particularly in the traffic in Melbourne, and big on safety as well. So
well, that's okay. So Craig, where did it all begin? Where did you grow up as a young lad?
Grew up in Warragul, so country boy, about an hour from Melbourne, a bit like yourself. Yeah. And great place to grow up, Warragul.
Yeah. And when did you leave Warragul?
Left Warragul at the end of 1992.
Okay.
And after year 12, but still in touch with all my schoolmates and try and get back once a year to watch Warragul play. Yeah. Footy.
Did you play for them? Did you play for them?
Played badly, yeah. Played under 16s for Warragul and under 17s for Warragul Industrials, and that was when things came to an abrupt end. Ability got in the way in the end.
And that was it.
And that was the end of the penny section.
So, Craig, how did you get into journalism, I should say?
Yeah, I was very lucky. So I wanted to be a journalist since I was young. So I wanted to be a journalist from the age of probably about 10 or 9. Yep. And my old man, Ken, God bless him, he took a column on for the local paper, writing about the junior footy when I was about 12, and he let me write it under his name for a year or two to get some experience. Nice. So I was very lucky that my dad had this vision of helping his boy, and so by the time I got to 13 or 14, it was in my name, and I had 4 or 5 years experience before school finished. So I think it's always good if you're a kid and you can work out what you want to do early, you get a head start on it. And in those days you had to, of course, get published, so you couldn't self-publish like you can now.
Yeah, you couldn't go on social media and bang it out. Yeah.
For young journalists these days, they can just start on their own platforms, whereas in nowadays you had to really find a place to be published.
Yeah. And then how did Croc Media come apart? So you're one of the owners, CEO, one of the owners?
Yeah, correct. So I founded the business with a guy called James Swanwick in 2006 in Los Angeles. We were shooting baskets in a basketball ring in his backyard. He was a journalist in celebrity news and I was a journalist in footy, and both of us were reasonably towards the end of those runs and looking for something different to do. So quite naively we just started, and what it began as and what it's become are two very different things.
Yeah. So how many employees now? How big is it now?
We've got probably around 220, 230 around the country. Okay. And an office in 5 cities, and Melbourne's the bigger of the 5. Yep. And probably another 300 or 400 part-timers in terms of commentators and all those freelancers.
So only in Australia at this point?
Yeah. At one point we were classically case of getting a bit big for our boots early, Tim. So we had an office in Singapore, Chicago.
Oh, really?
Los Angeles, New York,
no more.
Charlottesville in West Virginia at one stage.
Yeah.
But we've learned from those lessons, and some of them went okay, and others not so well. But we've learned from our lessons and focused in on the Australian marketplace.
And you spent a bit of time in America?
Yeah, love it. It's just a passion point. So
what do you like about America that?
I love the culture. Yeah. I love the sense of optimism and the way that success it's entrepreneurial in the big cities, that is, of course, where the New Yorks and LA's success is celebrated and people are well networked in helping you, but just the idea generation, because of the scale of the market, it's 15, 20 times the population. So big ideas are better explored because they can be better commoditised. Okay. And so it certainly teaches you when you spend time there to think bigger. Yeah. And that's what I love about it. And I love everything, the sport, the bars, the restaurants.
So what is your favourite sport? Is it AFL or is it?
Yeah, AFL's had an enormous effect on my life, so I have to say AFL. But I love the NFL. Yeah. Love the Super Bowl, go every year. Been to 11 of the last 12, or 12 of the last 13.
If you could be a lead at any sport, what sport you would be a lead at?
Whatever paid the most money. Okay. Maybe golf without the dramas, or tennis without the parenting issues.
Yeah, that would be good.
But I love American footy. Yeah. And our ballpark entertainment business has taken volumes of people. Last year we took about 60, I think, to the Super Bowl. I mean, we'll probably take 100 plus to Miami.
Okay. Nice.
So anyone in the area wants to come, feel free
So
to get in touch.
Super Bowl, AFL Grand Final, what?
They're both beautiful.
This is a Victorian audience,
Yeah.
so you better be careful.
Both beautiful experiences, aren't they? The Super Bowl is quite different because it's a week of events.
Yeah.
It builds every day. By the time you get to Sunday, you're almost exhausted and you forget there's a game to be played, and then it's another whole experience again. Whereas the AFL's a bit more about the weekend, isn't it? I don't think there's anything better than the Super Bowl, but I love Grand Final Day and been fortunate to go to that too.
Yeah. And so we're in Melbourne today, sunny Melbourne, turning it on
Yeah.
for us, but you get to Ballarat much, ever?
I do, yeah. So it's been a big part of our business. The 3BA Ballarat, we supply our Sports Day show too, which you're a partner in with our Harcourts open line. We also provide our AFL Nation call on the weekend across the station, and our off the bench on Saturday mornings. The station manager there, John Fitzgibbons, been a great friend for a long time and a good partner of our business. And our television off the bench TV began its life there.
Oh, did it?
Our radio began its life there.
Yeah.
Back end, we've worked with the city of Ballarat for a long time. We played a role in the Bulldogs coming to town, and I think it's just such a wonderful town. My uncle was a teacher at St Pat's in Ballarat for a long time.
Okay. Yeah.
So you love the town. We work with the Ballarat Turf Club over the journey with Lockie.
Yeah.
So
Lockie,
it's a great sporting town. Feel very lucky to have played a little role in its content journey, and I think Ballarat's booming. I hope your sales are reflecting that.
Yeah, no, Ballarat is booming. I'm always sitting here in Melbourne where the market's a bit tough. Ballarat's still going really well. So yeah, it's really good at the moment. Craig, so advice to a young journalist or business person, so that finishing uni, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm equipped to give advice because I feel like I'm still on my journey as well. But I'll have a stab at it anyway. If in journalism, just get started. Don't wait for anyone to tell you you've got a journalist or a business card that says you are, or you're being paid by someone to do it. Just start. Journalism is about storytelling, and we've all got the platforms to do that now. Yeah. So just start. And in business, I think be prepared to fail and make some mistakes, because if you don't try things, you don't progress. And a lot of, I assume a lot of people find that difficult. My personality style is a bit more to have a go and see what happens. Yeah. But we're all learning, aren't we? It's not easy. Yeah. What's your advice?
I don't have any.
Yeah.
What's worked for you? I've just started. Probably just have a go. I suppose that probably leads us to how we got here today. If you don't ask, I just asked you, and you were more than happy to come on the show, which is fantastic. So.
Yeah. And how have you found the experience so far of self-publishing?
Yeah, not too bad. I do a bit of LinkedIn stuff as well, so put it on there, and obviously, as you said before, with social media and all these networks now, you can basically just build a brand almost for free. Yep.
I was keen to support you today because I like the approach. Yeah. The entrepreneurialism of having you go.
Oh, well, I really appreciate that.
Me.
Couple more, Craig, before I work out how we get back, is because we haven't got far so far.
That's all right.
Is best person you've interviewed?
Best person I've interviewed?
Most interesting interview you've
done. This is where you get the name drop, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It depends on the time of your life you're in, stage of your career, I guess. I always remember being blown away by both Greg Norman and Steffi Graf at that time as a young journalist. I was pretty impressionable, and they were both number one in the world and at the peak of their powers. Yeah. Greg was a magnetic personality.
He still draws a crowd, doesn't
he? Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So probably they were the two that, for whatever reason, spring to mind. Yeah. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of others that, in terms of star factor, LeBron James or Kobe Bryant. Yeah. So you've interviewed them? Yeah. The NBA access is incredible. It's very, very well equipped for access, and the players are very accessible. Yeah. And so that at that time, but then there's probably some other things along the journey that have been less notable, but just richer stories. So it depends. Yeah. Craig, tell me about the Melbourne United. I think you're chairman, is that right? So I've taken on, we bought a stake in the team last year, so we bought a 25% share in the team. Big believer in where the sport's going. I think it's got huge scope and potential. And
is it growing in Melbourne? Like, I remember, as a kid it was massive, but I think it maybe lost a bit of that.
No doubt it lost its way for a while, the sport.
Yeah.
I think the sport are the first to concede that. Larry Kesselman was the guy that turned the sport around with his vision and energy.
Yeah.
And has done a fantastic job as the owner of the league to do that. And he was the owner of the team and sold down to a point where we could buy into the team. So yeah, I think really exciting times ahead for the sport. We've now got 2 teams in Melbourne. We've got a new startup starting out in the southeast next year.
Yeah.
So we should have big derbies in Melbourne, and look forward to those rivalries. And crowds are up. The match day participation is magnificent. So if you haven't been to a game,
I have been probably a couple of years ago now, and it really is exciting. Like, we were right in some corporate little box thing, and it is actually really entertaining.
Fans love it. They really do. They get to connect with the sport. The sport does a really good job of embracing families and people. And so, well, I think there's some really exciting times ahead for Melbourne United, and we'll be giving it everything.
Yeah. And Craig, in terms of the business, what's the goal for the business at the moment? What are you guys working on?
Just keep having fun, connect brands to fans, grow audiences, scale, build out further. No plans of slowing down, that's for sure.
Keep going.
No, I don't think we've worked it out yet, so a long way to go.
And Craig, I think we've had some busy people on here, but I don't think anyone will work more hours than you. So have you got any, what do you do in your spare time, if you get any?
So travel. And spend a bit of time with my partner and her kids. So they're the kind of 2 things that... Yeah. But I travel in big sporting events.
Yep. So just
I'm a bit of I get a bit of FOMO if I'm not at a big event, I must admit.
Yeah. Not a problem. Well, thanks guys. Thanks Craig. That's been really good.
Thanks for the opportunity.
I found out a bit more. I found out a bit more how to drive around Melbourne and work my way out.
I hope that you're having a great run in the Ballarat community with the way you approach it. Good on you for being so self-driven enough to get in touch, and for all of the guests that you get on the show. Yeah. I think it's a lesson to everyone out there that 80% of success is showing up right, and
I agree.
I would want to work with an agent that is aggressive enough to try and build their own brand and build their own connectivity into the community. So if your sales approach is anything like your content approach, then you're in good nick. So
I appreciate that.
Good luck with it.
Maybe ScoMo's next.
Pick the phone up. I'll guarantee you one thing: he won't ring you. All right?
That is true.
So of the 2 people that could ring each other, you're the best chance if you ring him.
Good
luck with the show, and thanks for all of your broader support of Sports Day on 3BA and Ballarat and beyond.
Thanks so much, Craig. Okay.